Hi guys, how are you all today morning? Good morning. Today is 29th April 2022. My name is TSV Raghavan and I live in Chennai, Tamil Nadu, India. I am a published author with Amazon Kindle and paperback. I write on fiction, spiritualism, and assorted subjects. This is my spiritual channel. Today we shall discuss about a very important topic in the life of a living human entity, and this is known as ego. Ego is a catalyst which affects the permutation and combination of vibrations between the supersoul, the soul, the causal intelligence, the astral mind, and the etheric senses. It affects this permutation and combination, and hence it plays a very important role in the lives of a living human entity. Ego can be material as well as spiritual. How it is so, I will tell you in detail. Now, we all know that this crust or minuscule portion of the first heavenly planet, Bhuloka, is a nursery for the evolvement of human living entities from materialism to spiritualism. 100% of the humans remain in this material world and are thinking like the ordinary living human entities. However, as the time progresses, 5% of them are attracted towards spiritualism. How this is connected to ego, we shall talk now. There are three types of ego. They are false ego, the real ego, and the super ego. False ego is directly connected with the first stage of spiritualism, that is self realization. The actual ego is directly connected to the second stage of spiritualism, that is liberation. The third, superego, is directly connected to the third stage of spiritualism, which is also known as deliverance. Now, we shall talk about these in detail. False ego. False ego is totally material and it relates only to the causal intelligence, the astral mind, the etheric senses, and the gross body. The gross body acts according to the vibrations of the causal intelligence, the astral mind, and the etheric senses. Now, false ego is when a living human entity, male or female, identifies himself or herself with his or her body. I said body, that is a combination of all the four layers. Majority of living human entities identify with gross body, whereas some identify with the etheric senses, the astral mind, and the causal intelligence. It depends on the event of a particular living human entity. The second stage is ego. Ego is when the same living entity identifies himself or herself with his or her soul. Here, the person becomes automatically spiritualized, and this is the stage of self realization. A living human entity at last realizes that his or her true identity is not this body but this soul. Whereas the gross body is discarded as a shell after demise of the living entity, the etheric senses, the astral mind, and the causal body carry with them the memories of the karma of that particular living entity, birth after birth and death after death. Depending upon these memories, this person takes another birth in some other form. It is his or her karma or destiny that makes this person take a particular form. Till now, it was material. But when the same person identifies with the soul, he or she becomes spiritualized and so sanctized or sanitized or sanctified. They become clean of the material vibrations and they proceed towards the other two stages, that is liberation and deliverance. Now, in the physical body, a soul which has evolved up to the point of identity causal intelligence and is itching to identify itself with the soul. This particular soul or this particular living entity now becomes self-realized. However, when the same living human entity identifies himself or herself as the soul, he or she proceeds towards the second stage, that is liberation. However, when the same human living entity identifies with or begins to identify with himself and herself as just a part of the super soul, then the deliverance of that particular living entity begins. Now, this person has been spiritually magnanimous to forget the body as well as the soul. He or she just wants to be an extension of the localized Paramatma, that is the super soul. These are three stages of spiritualism or the ultimate deliverance and going to Brahmaloka. The first stage where this living entity tries to identify himself in the causal intelligence is self realization. The second one is liberation, and the third one is deliverance. Kindly let me know what you think of my talk on this subject. If you sincerely feel that I am talking sense, please subscribe to my channel and press the bell icon so that I can keep reminding you of my future videos. Till we meet next time in my next video, it is a good day from TSV Raghavan.